Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been a little while since we've taken a look at one of these books. This is Maschinenkrieger in SF3D Archive Vol.3. So we took a look at Volume 2. Did we take a look at Volume 1 as well? I actually don't remember offhand, but I'm pretty sure we did look at Volume 2 a few months ago. So we're going to just take a quick look through here, Volume 3 as well. Probably won't end up being all that quick, but we're not going to talk in detail about every single picture and everything in here. Now, this is just a magazine book here, a MOOC. And it's pretty cool. It's just basically a review of works and releases from 2012, May 2012 to June 2013. Some different Maschinenkrieger stuff from that time. So it's all in Japanese, unfortunately, but if you do want to translate it, if you do want to pick up the book and like you want to read some particular section, I've found that using like just a Google Translate phone app works well enough just to get like the translation. Having a little bit of background knowledge of Japanese language, I think, does probably help a little bit, because where the translation is wrong, usually you can figure it out if you're just kind of familiar with Japanese a little bit. But anyway, the point is that this book cost around 30 to 100 yen, so about 30 bucks for this. They're not that cheap, but they are really nice. So these are just some other related books here. Here's Archive 1 and Archive 2. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't have the Archive 1 book. I would like to get that, though. The book I would really love to get, though, is the SAFS book. I still haven't got that one yet, and I still would like to get my hands on that one. The Max Watanabe special SAFS book there. The Ma.K modeling guide, also a great book. The first one and the second one. I think the second one's maybe a little bit better, but both of those Ma.K modeling books are also quite nice as well. So this book is produced by Hobby Japan there, and it's basically focused on the works of Max Watanabe and Ko Yokoyama. So there's features of each of them in here, and like the front cover of this, the actual cover of the book just looks like that. This is the sleeve on it, and in the front here we got a little bit about Max Watanabe there, and then in the back about Ko Yokoyama here, and they're both wearing the same hat. So I'm guessing they both didn't wear matching hats on the day they went in for these photos, that they probably shared the hat. But it would be kind of funny just to see them hanging out like wearing matching Ma.K hats. Would be pretty cool. All right, but here on the inside cover we got just a nice photo, and all these photos, well, I shouldn't say all because I haven't looked through this yet. I'm actually looking through this for the first time with you guys here, but most of these photos should be photos of the actual kits, and so this is just like a composite image there using the actual kits. And I don't know, I would be interested to see how they actually took this, if this was digitally composited or if they actually just had some like computer screen in the background with like a picture of the moon or something for that. Could very easily be what the case is for that as well. Sometimes they show like that kind of behind the scenes how they're taking the photos in these books, and it's pretty cool. But so you'll see this just goes through from, once again, May 2012, and then each section is just got a date there through June 2013. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. And so the first kit that it's focusing on is the Fledermaus and Hummel, two variations of this kit. Now, I'm not familiar enough with these designs and with this stuff to know what exactly the difference is between them. What I think the differences between these two designs, though, is the actual cockpit. This one has the canopy, where I think this is the Hummel has doesn't have the clear canopy like that. It's just using cameras in the front there, it would be. So I could be wrong about that, though, because I know there's also this variant here which has the Heinrich on the front of it. So I think that's a different one, though. So I don't know. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, they're both these kind of flight type equipment, aircraft that can be used here. So obviously Max's specific painting technique up there with the black primer and the rainbow colors all just splotched all over the kit. And then just some work in progress shots in here among them as well. So just to be like working with the wire parts to make some of these details, some of these lighter details on there. Love this camo color scheme for this one. I would love to recreate that on a kit. I don't know, not necessarily maybe like a Gundam kit, but on some kit, I would like to try my hand at that camo pattern. It looks quite nice. Sort of like a giraffe kind of color pattern. Anyway, a little bit desaturated version of that, but that's kind of what it reminds me of. So then you have this one, a little bit more kind of real world, kind of militaristic style looking camo pattern over here on this one. This one also pretty nice as well. Love the big yellow numbers on there. A couple more examples here with an off-white striping on it, and then down here this would be sort of kind of the typical color pattern they often use for like the winter type. This one's actually made by Lincoln. So this one's Link's version over here, Lin.K, Link's painted version there. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if we'll see him in any of the photos in this book. We'll have to see. So here's just one of these text sections, just where you can read that if you want. If you wanted to translate that, this would be a little bit more work. Something like this, if you're just wanting to translate these little paragraphs about this particular kit, it's a little bit easier to translate. But translating larger text like this is a little bit more time consuming if you wanted to check that out. But playback, new item, May issue 2012. Just a couple of releases here. This looks like the Nutcracker release from Nito, I believe that would be. No, sorry, from Hasegawa. Yes, Hasegawa Nutcracker kit there, 1/35th scale. And then also these, let's see, decals, other stuff from 2012. So the color cards there, some different decals, a decal set there. Also this particular character figure, which I believe I have one of these. I've not used it yet. As you guys know, I sometimes use these in with my Gunpla kits. These 120 scale resin figures. A lot of them are coming from different Ma.K stuff. So pretty sure I have that one. Maybe, I'm not sure actually though. I don't remember, but it's a pretty nice one. It's a pretty commonly used one as well. I see that one quite often. Then over here, another variant of that design, the Moby Dick, which, as you can see, you can kind of tell where it gets the name from by the front of it having this very kind of sperm whale sort of looking head on the front of there. So pretty interesting there, and just a diorama with a different character figure there. And so yeah, so like something like this, I would assume this photograph is probably just taken outside. They just set up this diorama with this actual background, or that's once again just a computer screen or something there in the background probably, but still pretty cool. It looks like natural light on that. I could be wrong, but it does look pretty nice. Up here, a little note, a little bit there from Koyokama, and then just some work in progress shots there of the Moby Dick. This is a kit. I don't know if this was just a resin conversion or something for this. I'm actually not familiar with this. This is the first that I'm seeing of it, just paging through the book here. So I really like this variant though. It does look pretty cool. I like the front end design on that, so it's pretty interesting. Just a couple of variants in the paint for that, or these are actually the same one, but there's a couple more here. There's really nice shots of the kit, the detail, and just like the engines and everything on it. It just looks super cool. It's a really interesting mechanical design for this. So I really like these type aircraft in the Ma.K universe. They're pretty interesting. So there's just a couple more shots of that. A little bit different scheme on this one. Has sort of like a chipped kind of different pattern. I'm not sure what the actual term for this camo pattern is. I'm sure there's a specific word for this type of camo pattern, but it's pretty interesting. All right, then down here about the 120 Fireball release from Wave. So that was back in 2012 apparently, so that's been out for a little while. Alright, and then over here some other new items from June 2012. This would be a resin kit here of the Croat, so that looks pretty cool. Some other stuff, and once again another card file, the combat scheme card file of just showing different color schemes and stuff like that. It's just like a little binder that you can get for storing these color scheme cards and stuff in there. So pretty cool. I've actually considered buying this on multiple occasions. I've never really known if it's really worth it or not. It does look pretty nice, pretty cool, but I'm not sure. Maybe someday I'll eventually break down and buy one of those, but it looks pretty nice anyway. And then there's that character figure, the 120 scale resin figure there. Alright, next into the Flage, which I think just recently was coming out. I think coming out soon or something like that. This one would be the, let's see, this would be an old Wave release here. This one modeled by Max Watanabe. Here they are up on the roof once again in one of their classic roof photo shoots there with a whole bunch of kits. So that looks pretty cool, a fun time. No link in there that day, I guess, but still a lot of stuff there to see. And then just some shots there of the kit, just a kind of all white color scheme there. It's got a little bit of like miscoloration, but there's no camo pattern or anything on it, so it definitely has a little different look to it when it doesn't have the camo scheme painted on it. Very interesting, sort of real world sort of look to it. Obviously the camo patterns make it look a little bit more sci-fi, of course, but just in all white it does look sort of realistic in a way, right? So some really nice color pattern variations you see here of the kind of gray and white with the yellow stripe. I think that's the kind of the most popular one. But this one is also pretty cool, kind of dark navy blue and kind of duck egg green or something, I would guess maybe is the color for that. But kind of greenish yellow kind of color. And darker green and kind of light bluish gray kind of color there on that one. And then sort of a variant using like the same colors as this one, but different type of camo pattern for that. That's pretty wild looking, isn't it? It's kind of interesting. I'm not sure I've ever seen that kind of camo pattern on anything before. That's pretty cool. Over here, just this looks like some old, just like photos that they were taking maybe of the kits at the time, just to kind of make it look like it's sort of like real, like space battle photography, sort of like real world photography of them. So it's like kind of lo-fi photographs of the kits. That's kind of interesting. And then once again over here on the roof with a ton of kits all laying down, they look like, or a lot of them are laying down. So maybe a bunch of them fell over or something, but it's kind of funny if they all just fell down like dominoes. That would have been a fun time. All right, anyway, and then the SAFS book. So this is the book that I was talking about, and it comes with those decals too. I actually didn't know that. Now I want the book even more if it's still including the original decals. I'm going to have to try to get my hands on that. Those decals look really awesome. Yeah, it looks like the original price for that was 2,800 yen, which is about $25, $30 for that. Now, I think anytime I've seen it online, it's usually around 100 or more, so it's pretty expensive these days. Okay, all right. Then some other stuff here. 1/16th scale. This would be cool. I'd like to get my hands on a 1/16 scale kit of Ma.K. I think this is just a figure though, actually, not actually a kit. So I think most of the 1/16th scale stuff are like figures, not kits. I have seen 1/16th scale resin kits though, I think, but not very often. There's the 120 scale camel kit. That's a pretty cool one. I like that design. It's kind of interesting. Very, again, sort of like realistic, real world sort of sci-fi look for that. And the Kaz. So I think this is the one that's just recently been re-released, or it's getting re-released soon. I don't remember offhand actually, but yeah, this is the one, not the Flage. Anyway, but so very cool, very similar though in its design. It has these the antenna fins out the back. I love that. Very cool part of the design. So the difference with this one also, you'll notice that it doesn't have the kind of window on the front of it. I'm not sure what the word you would call that. Anyway, the visor, I guess maybe on the front of there. Anyway, it doesn't have that. So it's got more armor here added onto the front. So that's pretty cool. I got once again the kind of standard color scheme usually for that, and then sort of tan brownish colored version of that, which does also look pretty nice actually. Over here, like white and off-white version of that, and then a pretty funky one down here too with that orange and kind of, again, kind of greenish color. So a really interesting design there for that. It's pretty wild. Another just kind of space white, off-white kind of color version down there of the Flage anyway. And then, oh, here's in 2012, Koyokama doing a dab. That's pretty interesting. All right, so he was the original dabber apparently. And this is going with some old resin kit there of the, let's see, of the SAFS. A few other releases from that period in time, including the Hasegawa Altair kit, which is a pretty cool one. Would definitely like to check out that kit at some point in time. And here we have a whole section about the Altair. That's cool. All right, didn't expect to see that, but here it is. So this is kind of like the Grosser Hund, but I guess the space type version of that, basically. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not the expert on Machine & Krieger lore and all that, but it does look pretty awesome. I love the addition of the kind of backpack, and again, the blade antennas on the back of that are very cool. Really interesting design here. Here it is a white with pink color option. That's pretty interesting. Again, not a very common one. I don't think I've ever seen one with that pink on it like that. It's pretty cool. This one over here with the brown and navy blue color pattern, a couple of fireballs down here, and this one here, which is kind of the probably the most common color scheme I think I've seen for that. Kind of the color scheme that's featured on the front of the box, right? It's kind of hard to see in that tiny little picture there, but yeah, basically. All right, so that looks cool. I love the details on this kit. It's just such a really cool design. Really nice. Here's a little bit about a Koyokama exhibition there. 1982 to 2012 works, I guess, just there in Tokyo. It was an art exhibition there, and a Ma.K Tamagawa meeting number 3. So about a Ma.K meeting that took place at the time. Some other new products out at the time there as well, it looks like. All right, then moving on to the fan favorite Fireball, of course. So we've got the, this is the version that's also just recently been re-released, I think, right? Or no, I'm thinking of the Super Ball, I suppose. Slightly different variation. But anyway, of course, we've got the snowman type version of that, and the gray and off-white version with kind of a little bit of like orange coloration on there, it looks like, in a couple parts. Kind of interesting. and a couple other different camo color patterns for that. This one's kind of cool, tricolor. It's usually the camo pattern is just 2 colors, but here it's got a little bit of dark blue on the front and then the white and green. That's kind of interesting. I haven't seen 3 color pattern like that used very often. And this one, blue and white there, also looks pretty nice. Over here, a little bit more with some nice illustrations there, just a little bit of illustrations. You don't typically see a ton of Koyokama illustrations in these books. There's separate books that you can get that have a lot more illustration, and if you're more interested in that, they're also pretty nice. At least there's one I know of. I don't know if actually there's more than one, but I know there's at least one big one of a bunch of Koyokama illustrations in it. More photos here, it looks like, from the exhibition, and a couple of things down here. Over here, it looks like some special Ma.K paints from finishers. I wasn't aware that they ever made any like specific brand Ma.K paints, but there we have Anti-Flash White and Monkey Rose here from finishers. Anti-Flash White, obviously a very popular and common color used, like all this kind of like off-white, space white, I think, as Link, I believe, often calls it just like that space white kind of color like that. It's the Anti-Flash White. The Monkey Rose, though, I'm not sure. I guess that would maybe be like for this red bit on some of these, but that not necessarily a super common color, I think, on a lot of these. But anyway, like there's a little bit of, I guess it's maybe that kind of little bit of red trim there on for space kits like this, where it would be using the Anti-Flash White and then that red color along with it, the Monkey Rose. So I'm guessing that that's what that is on there. But without skipping ahead, let's first take a look here at the Schenkel, which is ground type kind of armor, it looks like. So it's got these big feet on it. It looks pretty interesting. Like the little addition of the character figure and donkey down there at the bottom. That's kind of funny little addition. You don't normally often see like with these animals. Sometimes it'll just be character figures, but the addition of the animal is pretty cool. So some work in progress images here showing all the little detail work that went into like designing the legs and everything. That's pretty amazing. Looks pretty cool. And then over here, working on, let's see, this is a different tank. I forget what the name of this one is, but it looks like it's saying that it's a resin kit there, that one is. So, interesting. Okay, just a whole bunch more text here. So we'll just kind of move on a little bit to this, another special decal set. Those do also look pretty nice. Just a bunch of letters, numbers, and some cool marking logos on there as well. Looks pretty cool. All right, and then the Schenkel Luna version, so the Luna space type version of the Schenkel here. So a little bit different equipment, a little bit different design to that. This one looks really cool. Definitely prefer this version over just the standard version. I like this sort of, yeah, it definitely has the space vibe going on to it, right? Looks very interesting. And so just some work in progress photos of that there, looks like, as well. And really interesting just design for that, definitely. Very cool. Some more work in progress photos and some kind of behind the scenes photos there. It looks nice. Just a in space photo there, also looking very cool with that really super bright light and high contrast on that. Looks really cool on that white. There's a really dark, no, I was going to say that it's a really dark camo, but it's not. This is before being painted, so that's just the black primer with the colors painted on there before it gets the white paint on it. So there you go, and here's the illustration there of that. And over here from, it looks like a new kit from Wave, as you can tell by the big Wave logo in the background. This is at a hobby show, showing here the camel and the Lunagans there. Looking very cool, as always. And this really, really weird, long, like, sort of looks like a horseshoe crab sort of tank there. I forget the name of that one as well, but some other different photos there of some different examples and behind the scenes stuff there. Over here, getting into the PKA variation. That would be of the PKA Weltrum, the Heinrich, the Guzer, and the Ketav. So some variations here again as well of these. So I guess here you can see like the difference between the original version and the PKA version there. So kind of different, slightly different take on the design with this kind of head part there, especially the main body being the main area of difference there. The arms and legs are pretty much exactly the same other than that. So here's the work in progress on that, basically using the cockpit part of the Heinrich, and then they have to kind of build up the whole rest of that to make it look like it's the variation of this suit, right? So there you go, pretty cool. I love this case, or like this kind of protective structure there for the grenades. That's pretty awesome. for the Panzerfaust, I should say. Not too big on this red color scheme, though. It doesn't really quite do it for me, but it is a pretty unique color scheme to see something in that much red like that. So a couple different color variations of that here, and then this one down here. On the next page here, taking this kind of robot toy and painting it up Machine and Krieger style. That's pretty cool. I like that. And then down here, 1/16 scale, SAFS here. Once again, pretty sure this was like a figure set that also came with this figure, like pilot figure there to go along with that. And then once again, over here is the Lunagans as well. Love that design. And this cool cockpit photo there, that would be from the Camel, what the interior of the cockpit looks like, which is pretty interesting to see that. All right, then the Sandestalker. This would be kind of reminds me a lot of like a sail barge, from Star Wars. That's kind of the general design of this, but pretty interesting. Obviously a sand desert type mobile armor kind of tank design there. Not mobile armor, just the armor, I should say. It's not anything from Gundam, obviously. So this is also 1/20 scale from Hexa Model, I guess is the company. I'm not familiar with that one, and really not familiar with this kit either. It's one that I don't think I've ever seen before, so it must not be a very common one. Here it is with a bunch of lady figures there with that, and just a couple of variations of that, although they're all, I mean, pretty standard desert type looking in their color variants, so nothing really too colorful or anything like that. I think that's the point. The eyes and lips drawn on there is pretty goofy looking, but I get it. It's interesting. Alright, moving on here. Let's see what else we've got. A couple of releases now getting into February of 2013. The Archelion from Wave, out for 2,400 yen at the time. And here is the section about that. Really cool photo here, kind of at sunset. Kind of nice here of the Archelion. It's kind of got a weird shape head to it. It sort of reminds me of like a lizard or something in a way. I'm not really sure exactly why, but it's an interesting design for the head of this one. Or for the... Anyway, where the head goes, the cockpit, the main body of the armor, anyway. And so, cool color painting on that one, definitely. I like the colors for that, though, even though I'm still not too sure about the design. It looks pretty cool. Here's the red face version of that, with the eyes painted on there. Or, yeah, I'm not sure if this is painted on or decals. Probably painted on, but either way, with the eyes on there. It kind of... pretty monochrome color version of that. The two-tone is kind of a little bit harder to tell on this one, the camo pattern on that, with the big markings on the front of that. I don't know, seeing a bunch of different color variations of this is actually kind of making me come around to it a little bit more. I've never really been too big on this design, but seeing some different examples, I'm kind of feeling a little bit more interested in it now. It's not looking too bad, actually, now that I can see it, but it looks pretty cool. Here's the camel kit from Hasegawa, out in March of 2013 there, looking very cool. A couple of other larger things there. And this is the 1982 to 2012 30th anniversary. This sort of special section of this here. So we've got just a sample of a bunch of different box arts there from a bunch of the different kits. And over here, the Super Armor fighting suit and Max. I don't know, is that supposed to be Max? It doesn't really look like Max, but anyway, maybe it is supposed to be, maybe it's not, but some other examples here. This was, I think, is that like recreating the photo? I remember seeing a photo of the two of them, Koyakama and Max Watanabe, in a sort of similar pose like this, and you can see he's holding a kit there, holding the Luna Diver kit in his hand, and I somehow feel like I remember seeing a photograph of the two of them in like this pose, so it looks like they've kind of recreated that photo with these military figures here and the dog. That's kind of interesting. I'll have to check. I'll have to ask Lincoln about that, but I'm pretty sure that's recreated from a photo of the two of them. So that's kind of funny. This is really cool. Just with this pane of glass between here and on the one side showing the exterior and on the other side showing the interior of that. That's pretty awesome. It's really interesting. Look, so depending on which side you're looking at, you can see like the interior of these parts. That's really cool. Got a couple examples here from Saito Heel. If you guys are unfamiliar with him, he does the Love Garden brand resin figures and stuff these days. I'm not sure if he was doing that at the time. Maybe he was. Maybe it was like just kind of getting started at the time, but he makes his kind of own line of figures there from Love Garden, so those are pretty cool. So these are just done by different modelers, it looks like. Here is one from Kato, up here, of another kind of armor kit there from Koichi Takazawa down here. This one from Kei Shimizu of the Croat there. Very cute. Love that little guy. And Satoshi Kokubun here. Sorry about that. I don't think he's going to watch the video. I don't need to apologize to him, but sorry to you guys for stumbling on that name there. Up here from Hiroki Sugisaki. I wonder if that is that the same Hiroki that I follow on Twitter? I'm not sure. I'd have to check. But some cool character figures painted there, and just because it's painting character figures especially, it does make me think it's the same Hiroki that I'm following, but I can't remember his name, so I'm not sure. Anyway, okay, here's one here from Nobuhiko Nukaga of the Fireball, or the Prowler, and here's Lincoln making an appearance with a very cute looking photograph there for sure of the Luna Diver. I think that's the one that he was holding in the previous book, if I remember correctly. So, or it could be another one. I don't know how many he's painted, but it does look familiar anyway. So, it's a couple more in here, some painted examples from some different modelers. I assume just kind of friends of the business as well, and just kind of co-conspirators. So, some really nice builds all throughout. These are looking really cool. Really cool color scheme on the camel here. Really cool. Love that. So maybe, yeah, that's the red color, I would assume. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's the red color that we saw before. And the Mark 44 Ammonite over here. That set. Then a couple more photos of that. Got just a couple more releases here of a 1/16th scale snowball, or snowman. So snowball, snowman type there. And here they are, it looks like, at maybe another hobby show or something there with some works on display. And then a section here on the camel specifically. So more of that. And we get seeing a lot of this all spread out throughout the book. But now we have our own specific segment about this. So you can see some primed photos there and some work in progress photos on that. Silver primer, black primer, rainbow paints, and then the white painted version of that. Max's signature painting technique there. And so it looks really cool. It's a really interesting design, this one, because, yeah, kind of the walker form of that and this whole big bubble cockpit there. It's a really interesting design. I like this one quite a bit. There's a lot of great reference photos of that here. And then just a couple other designs at the end. A little bit more greenish color pattern on this one. It looks pretty interesting. And here we go. I recognize this one from Lincoln as well. Lincoln's painted Croat here. It looks like this was featured in the Weathering magazine. So yeah, I'm sure I used this an image of this kit actually for our Ma.K and Gundam competition. So there you go. I recognize that kit. And just a couple more resin things. It looks like down here. Propaganda. I've never seen this before. That's pretty interesting. This, well, once again, I would assume here is a 120 scale resin kit. Modeled by Max Watanabe, made by Rainbow Egg. Ah, there you go. Rainbow Egg, I know, makes the decals as well. So that's a pretty interesting design. Very cool. With the black, red, and white color scheme on that. There's a couple other shots here of that, and you can see kind of the breakdown of the different pieces for that, and also includes the decals. So, yeah, there's the black, red, and white. Well, a little bit of white, sort of off-white. Down here version of the Falk. And a white and blue version of that. It looks pretty cool. I like that. And alright, very interesting design. Yeah, one I'm not really familiar with. I'll have to check that out. I don't think I'm ever going to get my hands on that particular kit, or not that I would necessarily want to, but it's an interesting one that I don't think I've ever seen before. So the last couple pages here is just a little bit more kind of interview stuff here. Max Watanabe and Koyokama, just kind of interview or just kind of conversation between the two of them. It looks like here. To wrap up the end of the book. All right, that's it. So if you're a Machine & Krieger fan and just want to use this as a really great reference source for a bunch of different color schemes and just painting ideas and things like that, it's really cool. If you want some more information, there's a lot of information there. You just have to kind of take the time to go through and translate everything. It's a little bit of a chore, but still a really cool book. For $30, not too bad at all. I like it quite a bit, so gladly add this to the collection. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully this was interesting for any of you guys who are interested in this kind of stuff. I do have a couple other books I need to do reviews for in the near future. Those would be actually Gundam related, so I'll try to get those out for you guys as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.